There are two separate instances of ragging that has shamed us yet again. In Shameful, medical college students forced to parade with their tonsured heads. In Sambalpur, engineering students forced to strip down and dance.
Situation for a government of India from the last 70 years. Do not face this sort of a liquidity, sort of situation where the entire financial sector is in a churn.
India is facing its worst financial stress in 70 years, and this is as per the Niti Aayog Vice Chairperson. He's called for urgent steps by the government to reverse this condition. And this is a day after the chief economic advisor said corporates shouldn't come crying to the government. P. Chidambaram's counsel has levelled a huge charge in the top court, alleges that the CBI court's order was based on the notes of the probe agency. Also saying here that order of the High Court was a copy of the agency's notes which were submitted to the court. The Supreme Court has said that it will hear Chidambaram's plea against the CBI against trial court order on Monday now, after the CBI custody of Chidambaram ends. Supreme Court granting Chidambaram interim protection from arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. Chidambaram is though to remain in custody. This is under the CBI till Monday. Children being served chapatis and salt in the name of a nutritious midday meal in Mirzapur. School teacher and supervisor suspended. Major security breach at the Mumbai airport. 26-year-old man enters the tarmac area, stops a SpiceJet plane. Accident averted due to the pilot's presence of mind. CISF orders an inquiry into this incident now. You are with the big story here with us. I'm Seher Zama. Today we are focusing on shameful incidents of ragging that have been reported. India aims to be a destination of quality education globally. But these are two fresh instances that have exposed the ugly side of not just mild ribbing, but what should be seen as a form of campus violence. Engineering students were forced to strip down in Sambalpur, and in Shameful, medical students were forced to parade with their tonsured heads. Let's get you details on each of these two cases now that have been reported. The first case coming in from the prestigious Veer Surendra Sai University of Technology. This is in Sambalpur. It has sent shockwaves across Odisha. The visuals on your screen which showing how students, they were ragged on multiple occasions by the seniors, the juniors in the college. One, they were forced to strip down to their underwear and then dance. Another video from the same college here, from the same campus, shows the students forced to run through the corridors as seniors beat them. State government has now ordered for a probe by the registrar of the university. Family members here of one of the ragging victims from this engineering college claim that the college was well aware of a string of these instances of ragging that had taken place. Instead of acting in on it, they ignored it.
छोटा भाई है मेरा, वो यहाँ पे उन लोगों को बहुत ज़्यादा रैगिंग करते हैं। वेलकम मीटिंग के नाम पे उनको दारू पिलाते हैं, सिगरेट पीने के लिए मजबूर करते हैं, उनके कपड़े सब फाड़ लेते हैं। इसके बारे में मुझे बताया था, इसके लिए मैं हॉस्टल के वार्डन से बात किया था, उनका कमेटी से भी बात किया था हॉस्टल का। वो लोग मुझे बोले थे कि आगे से ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा, पर अभी मैं वीडियो न्यूज़ में देखा और मेरे उसमें देखा कि सब रैगिंग कर रहे हैं। बहुत छोटे छोटे लड़के बच्चे को, छोटा भाई को ये लोग मार रहे हैं। हाँ, घर में ये लोग बहादुर बनते हैं। जो हो रहा है ये सबको कॉलेज को पता है, BSSCUT को सब पता है ऐसा हो रहा है, पर कुछ स्टेप नहीं ले रहे। इसके लिए अच्छा कुछ सबको जैसे फर्स्ट ईयर सेकेंड ईयर सबको अलग करके रखने से ये सब तो कमेगा, पर अभी जो ये सब हो रहा है इसको रोकने के लिए कुछ करना चाहिए।
Students' families making it very clear college authorities were warned, were in the know, did nothing till they were forced to finally act in. The second case here that's coming from Safai, which is in Uttar Pradesh, and this has happened in this college, as you see, with the MCI, Medical Council of India, now issuing a show cause notice to the medical university here over the incident of ragging, where 150 first-year students there made to shave their heads off by their seniors. Taking a strong stand over the issue here, the council says, asking the varsity why it should not be fined, declared ineligible for new admissions. The council here also asking why students from senior batches should not be suspended, stopped from attending classes a minimum period of 1 month. While the Medical Council of India having taken note of these instances, authorities from the university have showed leniency over this incident. The Vice Chancellor of the Safai Medical University here claims that the medical training was tough. Ragging is a form of teaching by the seniors.
चुस्त दुरुस्त व्यवस्था चल रही है। हमारे यहाँ डीन है सोशल वेलफेयर के लिए अलग, एंटी रैगिंग कमेटी है, हर हॉस्टल में वार्डन्स हैं। लेकिन आप जानते हैं कि मेडिकल की ट्रेनिंग जो है वो दुनिया की हर ट्रेनिंग से मुश्किल है और जटिल भी है। इसमें एक संस्कार जो डेवलप करना होता है, जो धीरे धीरे डॉक्टरों में, मेडिकल चिकित्सा व्यवसाय में जो आप गिरावट देख रहे हैं, वो गिरावट इसलिए भी है कि जो हमारे टाइम पे रैगिंग के नाम पे बहुत सारे जो संस्कार हमें चिकित्सा के डाल दिए जाते थे वो धीरे धीरे खत्म होते जा रहे हैं। तो एक तरह की, एक लेवल की जो हल्की पुल्की जो मैनर सिखाने की एक्टिविटी है उसके मैं विरोध में भी नहीं हूं, और वो मैनर तो अभी से अगर नहीं सिखाए जाएंगे तो डॉक्टर्स कभी भी एक लेवल, एक स्तर के नहीं बन सकते। लेकिन इसका मतलब ये कतई न समझा जाए कि मैं रैगिंग के प्रो हूं, मतलब मैं उसके विरोध में नहीं हूं।
Okay, let's throw this open to our panelists. We have with us Sanchayata Gajapati of the BJP with us. We also have Professor Kachru, Professor Raj Kachru, founder of the Aman movement with us. Appreciate both of you being with us. First to you, Professor Kachru, the last remark that you just heard, this was from the Vice Chancellor of the Safai Medical College, in shockingly playing down an act of ragging, in refusing to acknowledge that this can take a far more sinister, violent form, and still saying that these are light-hearted moments. One shouldn't be taken aback.
Thank you for inviting me here today. I like to say that this is not unusual to hear. We have heard these kind of remarks, particularly from medical colleges. And I'm glad to hear for the first time that Medical Council has taken some stern action or intends to take a stern action, because in the last 10 years, Medical Council is one of the councils that has taken ragging very leniently. All other councils have made serious effort to combat ragging in India, except the Medical Council. I have no hesitation in saying it in public. We have reduced ragging in India substantially since 2009, which was estimated at about 42%. Today it stands at 4.5%. That doesn't mean that we have cleared India of this problem. The problem, mostly as the parent of some student told you, and as the principal himself says, that the administration, college administrations themselves do not see anything wrong with it. You see, doctors are produced not only in UP, Bihar, MP, Maharashtra, wherever the problems are, but all over the world. And there are excellent doctors produced all over the world. And if they don't need ragging, I can't understand why should a medical student from UP, Bihar or MP need ragging. So this kind of logic is totally irresponsible in my opinion. And this is what has fanned this
Right.
problem all over the place. We are finding pockets in India, mainly in UP and Bihar, Orissa, you mentioned, West Bengal, MP, parts of Maharashtra,
Yes.
parts of Tamil Nadu. These pockets exist. And in these pockets, we are finding it difficult to penetrate, mainly because of the administration in those universities or colleges supports it inside their hearts. They don't see anything wrong with it. That is the problem. Otherwise,
Right.
the government of India
And there has to be, but there has to be a check by the concerned authorities. Now, for instance, Uttar Pradesh is a state which has its own state legislation against ragging, not just in following the UGC regulation, but its own state law against ragging. Let's in fact stay with us, Professor. Let's in fact get in a view here from Sancheta as well. Sancheta, should this be seen as a case of a state government's laxity as well, wherein which you have the medical university vice chancellor wanting to play down this incident instead of having to take strict action against not just the administrative staff but against the students as well?
I heard what the Vice Chancellor said, and I have no hesitation in saying that in cases of ragging, knowing the sensitivity of this issue, you should be unequivocal in saying that this is unacceptable and there should be no ifs and buts in this. Having said that, I don't agree with you when you say that the state government has been lax. You yourself in your report have said that show cause notice has been issued. It comes under the jurisdiction of the Medical Council of India, who have already written to them. Let us wait and see what the state government says. But I have no hesitation in saying that ragging is unacceptable under the UGC guidelines. It's also very specifically mentioned what are the various measures that need to be taken. One of the measures I want to bring to everybody's notice is that if a complaint comes, it is incumbent on the Vice Chancellor or whoever's the head of the institute to go and file a complaint with the police within 24 hours of receiving such a complaint. And number two, if they're not able to find who the culprit is, you have to take collective punishment against all the seniors in the college. We have to understand this is a legacy of the British Raj. I agree with my previous panelist who said that this is a problem that is there, not just in one or two areas, pan-India. The government is committed to tackling it, which is why it's come down.
That's right.
It's 5% or even...
It has been several years down the line. These are a set of guidelines and kickstart of state legislation, central legislations that started in the year 2009. And there was a promise that there is going to be a check on campus, there are going to be anti-ragging squads, the state government not involved in keeping that check. Let's in fact get in further inputs. We have with us our correspondent Tanima with those details here. Tanima, these are two cases in the recent past that have taken place. There are other cases that have taken place here as well. And being a clear sign that the state authorities' involvement in this not up to the mark, despite those guidelines, despite the state legislators, despite central government laws here as well.
That's right, and not just that, not just the UGC guidelines here. Let us also point out that there are at least 12 states which have specific guidelines related to ragging. And some of these states, as Professor Kachru was also mentioning, are the ones in which there are several instances which are being reported even now, despite the fact that probably the incidents of ragging in totality in the country have in fact decreased over the past few years, ever since the guidelines started in 2009. But nonetheless, what we have in fact seen is that the number of official complaints which are registered with external authorities, whether it is with the police or whether it is complaints which are being forwarded to state administration or to the UGC, the number of those complaints are actually still very low. And as far as what we saw very pointedly is that reaction from the one of the senior most authorities of Saife Medical University, giving mixed signals to the students. Those kind of comments, of course, do not in any way encourage students to come forward and file those complaints. So yes, there are guidelines which have been in place since 2009, issued by the UGC, and also some states have their own laws specific to curb ragging. But have we seen a number of complaints actually rising over the years? Have there been any kind of precedent set in terms of punishments meted out to these students? Now, even the show cause notice, if you see, which has been given by the Medical Council of India, these are queries. These are queries which have been asked of the Saife Medical University, rather than actually giving out a more stern message saying that these things should be done, like seniors should be suspended or admissions should be stopped. These are queries which are being addressed to the medical authorities. What happens to that at the end of the day? It's all it's a vicious circle nonetheless. So we have to actually see that the complaints are low, and what we have in fact seen is that the senior most authorities in some of these colleges are also found falling short in several aspects.
Absolutely. Well put there, Tanima. Stay on with us. Let's in fact put that point forth here to Professor Kachru with us as well here. Professor Kachru, in 2009, we remember when the case happened against your son, Aman Kachru. We were all there with you. This was part of a huge nationwide anti-ragging campaign here, which forced the UGC to bring about these guidelines, which forced state governments to bring out these legislations to acknowledge that ragging is no mild form of seniors pulling the legs of the juniors, no mild form of ribbing. It is actually campus violence, and it could turn out to be murderous and heinous. Are you satisfied with the way this has moved forward today? Because today it has been established as a law and order issue as well for state police, for state governments, for education departments of the state to step in. Do you see that happening?
Yes, I want to repeat that it has been a great success. By and large, we have seen a tremendous reduction in ragging since 2009. Our call center is registering cases increasing every year. Last year we had 1,000, before that we had 900, before that 600, 800 and so on. And that's not because the number of cases are increasing. It's all because a lot of confidence is now within the students, a lot of confidence within the parents. And parents and students are both becoming very sensitive, and they are complaining and they are asking for relief. So having said this, I want to assure the country that it has been a successful program. There was, when I met you in 2009, there was an estimated 42% people in India faced ragging. Today that has come down to 5%. But at the same time, I repeat that we have many, many black spots all over the country where we have very little cooperation from college administrations. I do not agree with anybody, any college administration that say, we don't know this happened. Like in Shameful, we heard a bizarre argument from the Dean of Students saying that, look, I don't know whether these people chose to shave their heads themselves voluntarily. So when you see this kind of argument coming from college authorities, we are not in a position of any way to defend, argue with them. Neither is UGC. Only the agency that has got the right is the medical council for them. If it's an engineering college, AICTE, law college, law council, and so on. So when a council takes it easy and does not go further than making a little bit of noise, then these things are going to happen. One of the problems with the medical council is that their compliance level is very low. Compliance means preventive mechanisms. Preventive mechanisms are very low. What happens once we may have a
and talking about preventive mechanisms, please stay on with us. We have to get an important voice from inside, sir, with respect to the case that happened.
Une histoire entre deux peuples, le peuple de l'Inde et le peuple de la France. C'est un moment qui est émouvant parce que de nombreuses années après, nous allons consacrer un monument à la mémoire des 48 victimes de l'avion d'Air India, le Malabar Princess, et des 117 victimes de l'accident du Kanchenjunga. C'était pour l'un en 1950, pour l'autre en 1966, et ces personnes ont perdu la vie dans des accidents malheureux au sommet du Mont Blanc, qui est la montagne qui est le vrai symbole de la France, de la pureté, et qui malheureusement a vu ce drame humain. Donc aujourd'hui, je voudrais remercier Son Excellence le Premier ministre pour avoir accepté que nous commémorions et que nous rendions un hommage simple, solennel et officiel à ces accidents et à ces victimes. Alors nous sommes des pays, la France et l'Inde, qui avons des montagnes sur nos territoires, des montagnes qui sont parfois de beaux sommets à conquérir, mais aussi parfois des montagnes qui meurtrissent les familles, qui meurtrissent nos peuples. Et aujourd'hui, c'est dans la tradition montagnarde que nous allons rendre hommage, un hommage très très simple, au travers d'une stèle qui va rappeler à tous les visiteurs que cette montagne, le Mont Blanc, a vécu ce drame. Ce drame, il a commencé pour les sauveteurs qui sont allés sur ce drame, eh bien, au Nid d'Aigle. Le Nid d'Aigle, c'est à Saint-Gervais, au pied du Mont Blanc. C'est la fin d'un petit train crémaillère, et c'est le début de l'ascension.
All right, that is with respect to updates that we're getting in from France. Prime Minister Modi there in France. He's to address in a short while from now the Indian community event at the UNESCO headquarters. We'll cut back to that when that happens. Let's switch focus to the discussion that we were having. This is with respect to India's anti-ragging campaign that has picked up momentum since 2009. Unfortunately, we continue to hear of various instances of ragging. Our panelist Sancheta Gajapati of the BJP with us, Professor Kachru of the Aman movement here with us. Sancheta, respond to some of those allegations here that it needs to be the job of the state governments involved here as well to keep a check, whether you have the anti-ragging squads on campus, to keep a check that preventive measures are being taken, not to have a concerned university or a college react only after multiple complaints have been made. And in those multiple complaints, God forbid, you would be injuring, damaging the lives of several juniors.
Professor just correctly mentioned that the Medical Council of India has been known to be one of the most corrupt, ineffective organizations, and we all know that in the medical space there's a huge amount of ragging that happens, especially with freshers and with the junior students and the doctors when they're training. And that is also one of the reasons why the Medical Council of India is being scrapped. The new legislation has been brought in because this is with the idea of reforming medical education and ensuring that there is more accountability. As far as state governments' roles are concerned, many states, like you've mentioned, whether that's Maharashtra, whether that's Uttar Pradesh, whether that's Andhra Pradesh, and a few others, have also enacted laws in their respective states. Yes, there are still instances where
that's right. Absolutely. And very quickly, we're getting in a word here from the BJD in Odisha. Kalkesh Singh Deo with us over the phone line. Kalkesh, thanks for being with us and holding that line here. This is specifically with respect to the Sambalpur incident that has happened, where concerned families of the junior students, the victim junior students, saying that there were multiple complaints and it really needed a push for the authorities to finally react and take action.
It's a shocking incident which has happened in Sambalpur. It should have never happened. There are laws and there are grievance redressal mechanisms to address these issues. Obviously, there's been some sort of a gap between the time that the incident happened and when it's been highlighted by channels thanks to people like you. Now, I think the authorities have already taken cognizance of this offense. They've already acted on the error.